Live in 1 minute. I assume Mr. Cogan's not.
We are live.
Okay, he's missing. All right.
He's in Bermuda or something.
Yeah. It'll say live if it used to anyway. It did. Okay, well then we are live. I'll call the meeting to order. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Item number 3 on the agenda is an invitation for a citizen to schedule time on the commission agenda for an item not listed. I don't see anybody here that would schedule time, so we'll move on to item 4, which is approval of the agenda. We do need to add an additional executive session, South Dakota Codified Law 125-2, parentheses 1, for personnel discussion. Are there any other changes to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item 5 is the consent agendas. We have approval of the minutes. The documents are enclosed. Approval of travel requests. Documents enclosed. Approval of personnel action notices with documents, and approval of the human services report with documents. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second. We'll call the roll.
Pierce?
Aye.
Boersma?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Bartley?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 6 is routine business, approval of the claims. Had a chance to review those. Is there a motion to approve? Is
So moved.
there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any comments or discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the roll.
Boersma?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Pierce?
Aye.
Bartley?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item B is department head reports, and we'll start with Brian.
Good morning. I apologize for not getting my report on the agenda, but just a few updates here. We're still looking at one road that's got some water over it, County Road 14 down south of Sinai. April 9th, we had a pre-construction meeting for our preservation grants on our Brookings County structures 06150-219 on County Road 19, 06220-190 on County Road 23 south of Volga, and 06176-050 on County Road 38. Work is tentatively going to commence the week of the 29th, which would be next week. Be temporary lane closures. I know that the contractor's out there setting up some of the traffic control as we speak. So I've had a couple of residents already call and question that, but the closures will be pulled at night, so both lanes of the bridge will be open as much as they can. But as they're doing work and the type of work that's involved, they may have to leave the temporary closure up overnight. But there will be the proper traffic control to handle that. April 12th, I reviewed one of our projects that was submitted by Volga Township. April 14th through the 18th, I attended the NACE conference down in Wichita, Kansas. And April 29th, here we're looking at switching to our summer hours, 7 to 5:30, Monday through Friday. And May 1st, we're going to be looking at pulling our weight limits, and the reason being is we're seeing a lot of the traffic that is taking our gravel roads is putting a lot of pressure on our gravel roads, which we're finding a lot of soft spots. So we feel if we pull the load limits, then we'll try to pull some of the pressure off of our gravels. And hopefully here will dry up. Would be nice.
Any questions? Commissioner Pierce?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch where on 219 is that preservation, what
The-
bridge?
On County Road 19, it'd be just north of be the golf course area down there on County Road 19.
Okay, so it's in the golf course area? I'm just wondering how that's going to work with the bridge closings on 77. Do we have routes that people are going to be able?
Well, like I said, it'll be temporary as far as the closures go, so we'll try to keep the traffic flowing through there as, smoothly as possible. And I did take that into consideration, too, as far as trying to convince the contractor, of where to start. But the temporary work that's going to be taking place, first off, will be the type of work where we can get that bridge opened to traffic at night, and then as we move into the planting season, there'll be a lapse in between the work, so that bridge will remain open, say during the planting season.
And I can't remember whether that bridge is north or south of the road that comes off of the housing development out there where all those people come to work every day.
It'd be north of there.
So they won't be able to come that way? They won't be able to go on 77? They'll have to drive all the way around the lake? Is that what we're saying?
No, they will still be able to get through there. It'll be just temporary, one lane closed. They'll still be able to
Okay.
get through the bridge
So one lane will be
Yep.
open. Okay, thank you.
temporarily.
You may want to, it's just a bridge deck rehab is what it is.
It's an epoxy deck seal, but what they have to do is find small areas in the deck, and those will have to be remedied, and then at a later date, they'll come back and then do the actual epoxy deck work.
Okay, like I said, I'm going to get calls on this one, so.
Right.
But there'll be one lane that'll be open and people will be
Yes.
able to get back and
Yep,
forth to
yep,
Brookings?
yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Marty?
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Try to give you a quick report here. We're looking good in the jail. At the present time, we have 23, so our numbers are down. That makes it pretty manageable to do a lot of cleaning and things that we don't normally get done. I don't know what's going on right now. The 23 that are in jail need to be there, and so I think our judges. I talked to you, retired Judge Pierce, on what's going on, and I think the judges are doing a good job of putting who needs to be in jail and giving bond and PRs and those types of things. Then I always will say 24/7 I think keeps people out of jail too. We have 131 participants on 24/7. I have 6 on drug patch. I have 19 on PBTs. I have 14 on the scram bracelets. I have 84 UAs, but that's only the ones on 24/7. That doesn't count Hope Court or drug court. So it's well over 100 UAs twice a week. I got, at the present time, I have 3 on GPS monitoring. And so, again, I like the surrounding counties that have jails are full. And I still hate to rent any beds out because you never know when that could change. So, but I did take one inmate from Lake County, and but otherwise we're doing good there. Just briefly, last week, that the snow event of 10/12, the 10th through the 12th, we didn't. Bob's office and my office, we said no travel in Brookings County, which a lot of people. Well, I don't know. Let's put it this way. I don't know if they adhered to it, but we only got the surrenders, the ones that got stuck. We did the night of Thursday night, Friday morning, we did 4 rescues, I believe, on 25 and 1 on 30. 25, my deputy could get to. On 30, he couldn't, and called the White Fire Department, and they brought out they have a pickup that's high off the ground. Was able to get a girl that came from Minneapolis at 2:30 in the morning anyway, and the ones that got stuck on 25 were her rescuers that got stuck on 25. So anyway, issues were going around barricades. I have a lot of townships calling of people going around their barricades and so forth. It's a countywide problem. I can't have a deputy everywhere, but the ones that are getting stuck and they don't belong on that road, it told my deputies to issue tickets, and also take reports and give it to the township. If they want to try to go civilly on damages, some when they're out four-wheeling and messing around, they're doing some damage to those roads too. So on Friday, Chief Justice Gilbertson had called me and asked if he could meet with me on Friday, in which I did. And he wants Brookings to be a pilot county along with 3 other counties on telepsych. In other words, they'll have a mental health counselor and probably it's through a Vera out of Sioux Falls. And if my deputy's out in the county somewhere and comes across someone that's dealing with a mental health issue, they can go on their computer and get a psychiatrist, or not such a psychiatrist, but a counselor, and they can do a quick brief and they can give us a quick assessment if we should bring them into the office and go further. And so I'm anxious. We've been talking about this for a few months since we started the CIT team and so forth. So I'm glad that, and I said that I would like to be a test county. So he's not Chief Justice said that he wasn't going to have Pennington County or Minnehaha because they're big and they have all kinds of, hospitals and he wants, smaller counties, medium-sized counties such as ours, and then smaller counties and do a test. But there's still, there'd be no cost to the county, and that's what he's working on some funding and those types of things and how to get it set up. But I also at the jail, we could do that at the jail also. We could communicate over the web and talk to a counselor right there too. And it's going to help my deputies to decide out in the field, do they need to bring this person in or not? They'll ask them certain questions, and of course if the counselor thinks that they should be brought in and further evaluation, then so I think it's going to be good. As much mental health issues that we do have. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Pierce.
in that process is what they're looking at, would that be a qualified mental health professional that could do the actual evaluation?
Yep.
Or they would be evaluated in the field, brought in, and then have to have another qualified mental health professional?
No, there'd be, and that's one of the things they got to work out, how to man that 24 hours or whatever it is. So it'll be a counselor on the other end.
So what that sounds like to me, and tell me if this would be similar, what we're doing now with juveniles on that, looking at one call-in center for processing juveniles. Is that the type
Be
of
similar.
situation?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. The IT person for Ivera used to be a policeman in Brookings, Troy Colville, so it's going to be easy to work with too. So, but Chief Justice says they got to work out some funding issues and then how they're going to, man this for call-ins, and it's going to be good for counties that have no access to mental health, and that they can do an assessment out. They might be a long ways from a mental health provider, and so it's really going to benefit counties that lack. There's only 4 psychiatrists in the whole state. That's kind of sad. There's only 4 psychiatrists in the whole state, and so they're spread pretty thin. So, but anyway, I'm anxious to hope that continues on. But there's some things the details they got to work out. Funding, like I said, it'd be no cost to the counties. But anyway.
And they'd have to change some statutes, I would think.
There's a little issue with HIPAA.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're working on some things. There's just some.
Has there been a reach out to East Central so they'd be aware that that's being considered? Because are they doing the bulk of those for us now?
Yes. And actually, and I haven't talked to Mary Beth for a while, but they were going to combine with the Vera. I don't know if that's completed yet or not.
Not technically.
Not technically.
They're a subcontractor consultant for a very.
Yeah. So I think it'll be a good partnership. So we're not going to take any work away from them. That's no problem there. East Central still comes in every Thursday too and meets with inmates. I usually have 4 or 5 inmates that meet with a counselor every Thursday, other than the ones that are already counseling with the counselors.
And then would they be available 24/7 for that call-in?
They already are. They already have an on-call person. So
No, I meant the pilot that you're going to do. Would
Oh, yes.
those people
Yep,
be available
yep.
24/7?
Yep.
Be amazing.
Yep. And then this Saturday, April 27th, I'll be out at the Walmart store from 10 to 2. Walmart wanted to partner with the sheriff's office with the DEA drug take back. Last year I did it at the sheriff's office, and we collected about 160 pounds of unwanted medicine during that 4 hours. And Walmart wanted to partner, and so they're going to be doing all the advertising and so forth. So anybody that has unwanted prescriptions or old prescriptions they want to get rid of, they can come out at Walmart and dispose of it with me. But I also take them at the sheriff's office too all the time too. But this is a National Drug Take Back Day at Walmart between 10 and 2, and so I think that'll be a good partnership with them. Other than that, if you have any questions, any other questions?
Any other questions? I guess we've already asked.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Marty.
Okay, thank you.
Vicki, would you like to give us your department head report?
Good morning.
Morning.
Just in our office, it's been busy taking tax payments, and April isn't a renewal month for Motor V, but I think that, I don't know if people got their income tax back, but we've been doing just a ton of title transfers. So it's been really busy, and we have one out that had surgery, so we're kind of short-staffed at the moment, but we're doing fine. And we also got our wind tower money in. I didn't have a chance to get that all out. That will be in the next packet and kind of give you an idea of how that's split out. But it's a little bit, it's about $4,000 short of what it was last year. It was like $905,000 last year. This year it's $901,000. But I will have that broke out and in your packet for next time. And you should have received in your packet the monthly finance officer's report for March. And the general fund surplus analysis that's at 10.69, which is pretty much what we thought it would be at this time. You know, it's about right on target. And with the taxes we'll be getting in, that should surely go up by quite a bit for next month. And then we have our be it noted items, the auditor's account with the treasurer, the payroll and additives total, the highway expenditures report, and the register of deeds statement of fees collected. And any questions you have on any of this?
Any questions? Thank you, Vicki.
Thank you.
And we'll consider the item C, the finance be it noted, listed already. Thank you. Bob, Mr. Hill, we'll take you next. And Jacob, I'm going to take you last because you're going to roll into some other items here.
Good morning.
Morning.
First thing, of course, we're still in flood. We're actually still in flood mode. I drove up by Lake Ponset yesterday, and they are just getting, the winds are just beating the you-know-what out of those cabins on the south side right now. Until the wind shifts, there's not a lot I don't think we can do there. You know, people like to live on the lake, but for some reason they forget that Lake Ponset's one of those lakes with them big waves, and in this time of the year, especially right when the ice comes out, it just, there's damages. I'm working with Dave Schaefer from Hamlin County since he's got 90% of the lake and I've got less than 10% of the lake. He's up there working. I'm going to get a hold of him, and I may have to take more sandbags up. I've delivered sandbags once to him, and we'll continue monitoring the situation up at Lake Ponset. We have used mutual aid in the emergency management world. The state emergency operations center has been open several times in the last 2 months. We got a call from the mayor in Sinai. They wanted to borrow a pump to pump out some water to keep some houses from flooding in the town of Sinai. So I went through the Office of Emergency Management, and we managed to get a 12-inch power takeoff pump from the Watertown Office of Emergency Management. Has it stored up there. Why it was being used in Sinai, Oslo Township contacted me, so I contacted the Emergency Operations Center again. We had it transferred from Sinai to Oslo Township so that they could keep a road from going under. And today we should be returning it back to Watertown. But that just shows that mutual aid in the state works, and if we need something, we do have the capability of requesting it and getting it. Sometimes you can't get it immediately, but there is mechanism in there to get it, and we've used it this year. The deadline, we sent out 46 packets and hand-delivered 1 packet to the town of Bruce. We sent out 2 packets to every township. 23 townships equals 46 was mailed out. We had originally gave them a deadline of April 18th. Since then, we had additional severe weather, so we were pushing the deadline back to April 26th, which is this Friday. We have a deadline of having it into Pier, Office of Emergency Management, by close of business on May 1st, which is next Wednesday, the following Wednesday. So if we can get it into our office by the 26th, then we can do our processing on 29 and 30 and make sure Pier has to have it on a memory stick. So if I have to overnight it, we'll overnight it on the 30th to make sure Pier has it by that time, or else I'll drive it out there. One of the way we'll get it there no matter what by their close of business. And then what will happen, they'll get the documentation by May 1st. Office of Emergency Management will review the documentations from May 1st to May 10th, and then if they have any questions, they'll call back to our office here in Brookings, and then we'll contact the townships or whoever filled the paperwork out. And then what happens is FEMA will come down, and they will, this is if everything follows proper and everything's approved, then FEMA will select so many different counties and townships to go through and start reviewing the records. And if they need to come out, they'll come out and do what's known as field visits. So, and any questions on that? I mean, it's, some people's asking about, like up at Lake Ponset with the house damages. Hamlin County is taking what's known as individual assistance reports. They've got a person up there on the lake that's taking individual assistance reports. They can contact my office if they feel that their home is damaged from flooding, and we got the paperwork that you could fill out. But I can tell you it takes a lot of damages to get individual assistance, and we'll help you with the paperwork and submit it to Pier, but there's a much better chance of getting assistance for what's known as public assistance, which is the township and the road network. And we also have to, that reminds me, we also have to get with the county highway. Not all the county highway roads are on what's known as the federal network. So if we've got roads that's not on the federal network, then they would qualify under our public assistance here. So we'll work with them and get all their numbers. So when we submit it on May 1st, we should have a complete packet. Okay. This is Severe Weather Week. It started yesterday, and it will go until Friday. For the whole month, we've got an ad going to be running in the Brookings Register. I run one. I believe the Sheriff's Office and several other people announcing Severe Weather Week. We're doing Facebook posts on public social media, our big things, Facebook and Twitter. We got a tornado drill tomorrow. We are this afternoon, we're going to set up the room downstairs for the severe weather shelter that this building does have in the basement. We're going to set all the chairs up in barricades, and tomorrow at 10 o'clock, there's a tornado watch going to be submitted, and then at 10:15, they're going to sound the sirens countywide, and we'll get to use our new facility downstairs and see how it works. And other than that, there's a joint jurisdiction meeting on the 25th. Elkton's got a fire feed on the 26th. Looks like a 911 meeting's been changed to the 29th. And my office is working on our state and local agreement, which is due on April 30th. Any questions?
Any questions? Seeing none, Bob, thank you for your report.
You're welcome.
Mike?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just a couple quick things. The VA has changed their criteria for what the DAV drivers can wear now. No more jeans, and so that's been putting a little bit of a damper. Not so much on our county. A lot of our drivers here have been able to change over to wear slacks, but some of the other ones in the state have lost over half their drivers. Currently, we are in need of drivers. We're down to about 7. And one of them is soon going to be driving truck for a local farmer, and he was our main go-to guy. So if anyone is interested, please contact my office. We have the paperwork there, and we'll try to get you through as quick as possible. I did go up to campus last week. That'll be my last one for the year until school starts again. The other part of it is I've been contacted by one of the larger employers in town and would like us to come out and do a noon meeting, basically giving them an update on some of the benefits, and I'm hoping it works out. One thing that a lot of the companies might not know, but when you have someone come in there and you're training them how to do a position, if they're a veteran and they have education benefits, they can use those benefits as on-the-job training. Most time we're looking at would be more like electricians, welders, carpenters and stuff like that. But I hope the businesses in the community embrace that. And we kind of like to say we have kind of a pilot project going with one of the companies right now. And I guess the last part of it is we can tell that the low-income energy assistance program is done. We can tell that BMU has went back to their summer schedule of 2 months behind on utilities because we've been quite active with people and trying to get their utilities either kept on or getting them back on. So it's been fairly busy on that.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you, Mike. Jacob, we'll have you come up. After your report, we'll have you stay here. We'll move into regular business for 15 minutes.
So we've had a pretty quiet couple weeks in our office, which is a good thing because that allowed me to get the abstract done and sent out to peer. Sent it out yesterday. It's due 3rd week of May. Our office will be fully staffed this Friday. We have a new appraiser starting on Friday, which is a good thing because the weather's getting nice now. We'll be going out and doing our full commercial review, so new appraiser and the rest of the existing staff will be involved in that. And also with that commercial review, the Hamlin County Director of Equalization doesn't have a lot of experience with commercial appraisal, so he was going to tag along with our appraisers for 2-3 days here, just to get a little more experience under his belt. That's all I had.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll have you stay there. We're going to move into regular items here, item 8. The first one, item A, is an action to approve abatement number 19-18, an abatement application made by the City of Aurora for parcel number 31184-00100-007-00 in the amount of $41.25. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any comments for us, Jacob, on this one?
The first 4 abatements for Aurora City are just purchased by an exempt entity in the middle of the year, so abating the amount of taxes that it was owned by Aurora City.
Okay, so that comment covers all 4 of the ones we have here?
The top 4, there is a 5th.
Top 4, okay. So we'll take that into consideration. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item B is an action to approve abatement number 19-19, an abatement application made by the City of Aurora for parcel number 31184-00300-005-00 in the amount of $24.52. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Item C is an action to approve abatement number 19-20, an abatement application made by the City of Aurora for parcel number 31200-00200-003-00 in the amount of $722.36. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item D is an action to approve abatement number 19-21, an abatement application made by the City of Aurora for parcel number 31200-00200-004-00 in the amount of $241.29. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item E is an action to approve abatement number 19-22, an abatement application made by Kelly Buckles for parcel number 09000-11247-183-00 in the amount of $1,694.55. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any comments? Jacob?
This property was a complete loss due to a fire on June 19th of 2018. So the amount abated is the remainder of taxes due on the structures for the end of the year.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the commissioners? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item F is an action to approve a funding request of $1,500 made by the Uncle Sam Jam. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion been,
Second.
okay, motion been made and seconded. Do we have anybody from the Uncle Sam Jam here?
No, no one is here. The information was included in your packet. This is something that we've done for the last 7-8 years, and since 2013, $1,500 has been their request and has been approved. It would come out of the Commission Public Relations line.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Or excuse me, this is a request for funding, so it's a roll call vote. Call the roll.
Jensen?
Aye.
Pierce?
Aye.
Boersma?
Aye.
Bartley?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item G is a work plan discussion. Work plan topics. I believe we'll let you take that, Stacy.
So I've updated the work plan. It's kind of that purple color. I guess just some things just to start going through things. The river bridges, obviously, those are construction's underway. The detour is in place. The Sinai Bridge is set to be bid later this year. 5-year plan that will be coming up later this year as well to get that approved for any big grant applications. May need some updates from Brian on the Basin Electric Bridge County Road on County Road 27. I think that has been bid now. Is that correct?
Yes, it has, but I don't have a date
Okay.
from the contractor yet as to when they're going to start.
So I'll get that information from Brian and update that. The budget, the grant dollars, not much has changed there other than we did send out the applications have been sent to all the township clerks, and we have received a couple of those applications. The deadline is at the end of May. Jail expansion, the soil borings are complete. The board is scheduled to tour the jail in Renville County in Olivia, Minnesota on May 6th, May 7th, May 6th, that Monday, the 6th. Joint Jurisdiction Committee, continue to work through that draft ordinance. You know, specific topics that the group has been working on over the last several meetings is the Aquifer Protection Zone, a rural residential zone and CAFOs or feed lots too. So the next meeting is this week. Mental Health Task Force, they are scheduled to, they have a couple more meetings, and then they're scheduled to present their survey findings to kind of a joint city, school, county meeting on Tuesday, June 4th. That's going to be here in the chambers at 3:30. BCOAC, nothing new there. Beta, what is new, that is, the commission did assign the $200,000 for the future purchase of that bus garage. Union negotiations, we did hire Steve Bogue. They take place actually May 7th in 2 weeks. That afternoon, I believe, or that day is the first time that they'll be meeting. So a couple weeks away from that. Nothing new on the bike trail overpass. Analyze and update ordinances. On that, I should have added to that number 10. I did get a group of folks together to look at the ordinances. There's the new law that goes into effect on July 1st, where all of any ordinance posted on the website has to be the most updated version. So we had a group together last week. We met and discussed kind of what that will look like, and then I discussed it again at the department head meeting last week. So we have a lot of people taking a look at that, and those we'll have that done by July 1. Small towns, I didn't have on here that we were going to send a notice out. That slipped through the cracks, so if we're still interested in doing that, I can get that done here in the next week or so, is sending something to each of the city and school district councils and school boards if they'd like a commissioner to attend a future meeting. And again, we had discussed specifically to discuss potential projects that they have that may impact the county in some fashion. I could draft a letter, run it past Mike and get that sent out and see if we can get any feedback. I can do that.
I think isn't tonight the first reading of the TIF in Aurora?
Yes. I believe their meeting starts at 7 o'clock tonight, and they're going to be having a public hearing as part of that meeting. I don't think that was given a specific time on the agenda, but they have a public hearing tonight regarding a potential TIF district in Aurora. I think that public notice was part of your packet too. So, you know, Ryan's gone this week, but he has been attending the Communities of Excellence meetings. I think those weekly meetings, I think, or every other week. Can't remember now. Leanne, I think you're the...
I'm the alternate, but
alternate?
Ryan doesn't let me know when he's not going to be there. So I don't think they're meeting weekly,
Okay.
but I can't tell you exactly when they
Okay.
do meet.
But I know he's been keeping up and attending those, so working through that. Humane Society, nothing, no updates there, just their budgeted amount for this year. And then at the last meeting, we did add the drainage concerns with Madera Township. So if there's any other items that the board would like to see added or any additions to any of the topics that we have, this is our time to discuss.
Mr. Pierce?
On item 1B, the 5-year plan, last year we saw the first draft of that plan too late to have much input into it because we had to vote. What timetable are we looking at this year for the first draft of the 5-year plan to be available?
I would like to have my 5-year plan submitted at the same time the preliminary budget is going to be submitted.
That would be fantastic.
That would be good, yeah. Thank you.
The other thing on item number 2 on the jail expansion, Stacy and Angie and I met a week ago and to work on the request for proposals, and we should probably put a little bit more detail into what's going on, because we talked about some possible timing, scheduling, and maybe that should be showing up on the work plan, those dates that we talked about. And when we get to commissioner reports, somebody or Stacy's report, somebody will talk about this, but we hope to have a pretty finalized draft of the request for proposals on that the May 7th meeting.
Yes.
So
yes, and I did our draft from the discussion that we had from our meeting, and I sent that off to Angie to have her run her eye over it. She sent me some things last night, and so I'm going to make those changes, and I'll get those sent off to you, Commissioner Pierce, and probably Commissioner Bartley, and our architect to probably yet today, that draft. So
Right.
we'll have that to look at.
So we, have a goal, and we kind of have a schedule, and maybe all that should show up in our work plan.
Yep, I can sure add that. Anything else?
I'm unclear on where we're at on the Madera Township drainage. What's going on right now? And maybe Mr. Hill could tell us that.
Well, we got the Big Sioux River out of its bank, so there's not much can be done from this office side.
Well, we had that meeting out at the BOAC.
And then I believe the township is getting together and getting the discussion was the township was going to get together and make sure everyone was on board before we could go anywhere else. And I haven't checked back with Londa yet. So I'll contact her and get you an update at the next meeting.
That would be great.
Are you finished?
Yes,
Any other
that
comments?
is all I had.
You're done.
I am finished with the work plan.
All righty, thank you very much. We'll have the state's attorney's office report. Dan?
Nothing new to report.
Okay. We've got a few minutes here before we get to our scheduled items, so let's go ahead and do commissioner reports. We'll start with
Well,
Commissioner.
you skipped over my report. I was done with the work plan. I'm sorry, I didn't do my report. I could
Oh, you didn't do your
start
report.
with mine and see how far
I
I
thought you
get.
were rolling right into it there.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Misunderstood.
Let's do your report.
Let me grab it. Vicki had already discussed the surplus analysis, but I put those two comparisons, kind of the side-by-side comparisons for the month and then the yearly to see. So 11%, we're just shy of 11%. It's a little bit lower than what probably the average, but with April, with first half taxes, you'll definitely see that increase for next month. And we already discussed the public notice with the Aurora. That public notice, that meeting is tonight at 7 o'clock. I set out in front of each of you this morning. There's information from DOT, and I need to send that to Brian too on the transportation alternatives funding, and maybe he received that too, but I'll send that off to him. And then we had a department head meeting last Wednesday. And as part of that, I know this has kind of been an ongoing discussion, and Kristen's not here today to give us too many details, but part of that discussion was our holiday party that we have at the VFW every year. We decided that I think the department heads kind of took a straw poll, and we're going to move that out to the BCOAC next year to give that a try. And Kristen, I think, has some pretty fun ideas and things that we can do, including archery tag, but I think we were going to try to come up with an archery bingo to keep with the theme of the bingo that we've had over the years. So be looking for that in the future. Other than that, just some of your upcoming dates. As Bob had mentioned, there is a statewide tornado drill tomorrow. That watch will be issued at 10 in the morning at 10:15, and as many employees here in this building, both city and county, are going to participate in that tornado drill. So if you want to be here and participate in that, feel free to show up, and we will let you know where you need to go for that if you do. Friday, there's the Elkton Firemen's Feed at 5:30 over at the Elkton Fire Hall. And then the Brookings Volunteer Fire and Rescue Annual County Feed is 5:30 on Tuesday, April 30th. That's at their East Station. You do have that special meeting at 11 a.m. on Thursday, May 2nd. That is going to be a one-topic agenda with Sherry Matthews from Wellmark coming in to discuss some potential changes to insurance coverage. Monday, May 6th, you will tour the jail facilities at Renville. I do have the Traverse reserved for you for that travel. I know Commissioner Bartley is going to be traveling on his own because he is going elsewhere. He is continuing on to the Twin Cities from there. And I think we had kind of discussed with some of you a 7:30 leave time. It's a little over 2 hours, and that would get you there by 10 o'clock if you need to make any stops. So the Traverse will be ready to go for you that morning. Looking out a little bit further, May 22nd is the Sioux Valley Commissioners meeting, or our 10-county meeting. Moody County is hosting that on Wednesday, May 22nd. I don't have a location for that in Moody County. It's usually in Flanders. I know a couple years ago it was at Mad Mary's, so I'll be looking for that to come here in the future, but that is the date, May 22nd, and that's always a noon start. Memorial Day office is closed. The Mental Health Task Force presentation that I had noted before, 3:30 on the 4th of June. Budget hearings, make sure this is on your calendars for June 11th and June 12th. So June 11th is all day. We'll start at 8:30 and we'll go pretty close to 5 o'clock. And then again, Wednesday, June 12th, just those morning hours. And that's all I have, unless you have any other questions for me.
Any questions?
Question on the second, how long do you anticipate that take?
On the 2nd.
11 o'clock meeting?
Oh, I hopefully just an hour. Hopefully we'll be wrapped up by noon.
Commissioner Bartley and I had a slight conversation about, is there any possibility we could start at 10:30 instead of at 11?
Sherry is not available until 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I have a noon meeting that I have to be at, so I'm going to have to leave early.
So-
I have
Yeah.
a meeting at noon I have to be at too.
I will let her know that, so
Okay.
that hopefully we can get it all in an hour.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none. I did that quick. We're going to move on to our scheduled agenda items. 9:15 is a discussion and possible action on a request from Brookings Farmers Market for a road closure. Louise Snodgrass with Brookings Farmers Market is here, I assume?
Nope.
No? Okay. Do we know anything about this request?
This was a request, I believe, to close that block of 6th Avenue between the courthouse and the library Saturday mornings for a few hours every Saturday morning. The farmers market moved there. I think this is their 3rd summer maybe there now at that new location instead of downtown, so or over at the City Plaza. So I believe the request was to close that, to have the commission approve closing that street. They go to all of the surrounding neighbors and make sure everyone is okay with that each year. And I think there's a form that the city requires them to complete that would need a signature from Commissioner Bartley, but I don't know where.
Well, it's a city
she
street,
is.
so the actual closure has to be a
Right, it's
city
just to
action.
kind of give
Ours is just
permission, just to,
we're not objecting to
right, basically,
the
yes.
road closure because we don't have the authority to close it, so. We're just in support. Is there a motion to support the road closure?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. That's the way they've been doing it, is closing it, I guess. All right, no other comments. We will have a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. Item B is a 9:30 presentation, so we'll go back into commissioner reports. We'll start with Commissioner Pierce.
The, because of the weather and the holiday, I had a real quiet 2-week period. On April 16th, as indicated before, met with Stacy and Angie, and we worked on the request for proposals on the jail, and that'll be forthcoming. And I attended the post-legislative luncheon on April 17th, and that was interesting as always. David Owen did a good job on that. I did have a question on this DOT form that Stacy handed out, and I just didn't speak fast enough when she was going through her report. Is this something that we are going to be looking at a possible project to apply for, or where are we at on this particular item?
I don't know that Brian has even seen that yet, so I think I need to see. The information came to the commission office to share with the board, and we just got it. That's why it was passed out today. So I need to share that with him. And I don't know that there's any specific project that we had in mind, but it was just information to share with you that it's there.
I have a question for the commission on this, and just wondered if this might be one of those things that we could look at for 213. And in particular, what we've talked about previously on 213, if we finish paving that section, is having the bike trail. This grant looks like it specifically provides for bike trails. There's a real interest between Aurora and Brookings on having a bike trail that hooks onto the City of Brookings bike trail that runs through that area over to Aurora. And I think this is something, since we already have our hydrology done, that if we had some interest, maybe that would be a project Brian could look at and see if it would fit into the requirements for this grant program. I don't know, what do you think?
Well, it could be looked at. I think that the maximum is 400,000. I don't know if that would pay for a bike trail. So I don't know what the costs are. Those are estimates we'd have to see before we apply for a grant that we can't back up on the other side.
Is that something, though, that Brian could be willing, maybe, Brian, to take a look at to see if tying that into getting 213 done and getting a bike trail there and those things, what if there's some possibility of getting assistance on that?
Well, we don't have any new cost estimates. I would assume that we'd have to put that together before
Right.
we put this in as a request. So possibly, you have deadline of July 15th, so you would have basically a month here and a half to try and put together some estimates on the cost of 213 completion and the bike trail, and understanding that the maximum we'll get here is 400,000, but try and give us those total cost estimates. Is that possible? Okay, good. Well, satisfactory?
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. That's my report.
All right. Commissioner Boersma?
Tuesday, the 16th, met with Stacy and Commissioner Pierce on the jail RFP, and as Stacy alluded to, we've got a draft ready for folks to look at as soon as she gets a chance to get my 11th hour changes. And then Friday, the 19th, met with ECBH staff. They're working on a rebranding process, and so was kind of doing some workshop stuff with them on the preparation for their rebrand that will come up in May and June. So that's my report.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Jensen?
On the 17th, attended the legislative luncheon. Like Commissioner Pierce said, is always interesting with Mr. Owen. Have received numerous calls from township supervisors regarding our grant application. I've been forwarding them to the highway department. Also talked with Jackie with the city engineering department on the parking lot out at the OAC. Have some concerns on the subsoil content, I guess you should say. The city is going to go ahead and do some geo work out there and do some borings to figure out what soils underneath there. They are willing to pay for it. They're going to basically do soil samples on the whole parking lot to make sure in future if something is done, they'll have those in office. So she's working on that. Actually, I talked to her this morning and we'll be moving forward. I know the parking lot out there is a disaster. Hopefully this week it dry up a little bit, but that's all I have.
Thank you. And my report is very short because I was gone most of that 2-week period here, so I really don't have anything to report. With that, we still have approximately 7 minutes before our next scheduled item. We will take a quick recess and reconvene at 9:30. our session back to order. Our 9:30 presentation is discussion and possible action on Oak Lake Township funding request. Norris Patrick of Oak Lake Township Supervisor will be presenting. Mr. Patrick, will you please come up and identify yourself for us?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Norris Patrick, Supervisor of Oak Lake Township. I guess I'll let you lead the questioning because I don't know what you want.
Well, you're making a request for funding, so it's your
Okay.
request.
Should I start at the beginning?
Start wherever you need to. Make it as concise as possible for us. Yep.
Last year when we had the late snowstorm, we had two big culverts, 5-foot culverts, 44-foot long, washed out. One washed out and the other one's still there. So that became my project because the other two supervisors was either in Hawaii or in Branson. So the load was on me. So we got around to replacing these culverts. I talked to the county highway department at that time, and Dick told me that they would supply the tubes if the township would supply the installation. So we had a meeting up there with the three supervisors. And I said, I make a motion that Stursinger's install the tubes, and one of the other supervisors, I got a second on that, and it was approved. One of the other supervisors, Grace was her name, said, I make a motion that Jensen's haul the clay. I said no, because when you get a commission or a company doing the project, you want one person to do the whole thing so that one is not waiting for the other. I said, have Stursinger's haul the clay because they can have it when they need it and not wait for something else. Well, that was okay, but I got a second on that. So then we went to the gravel over top. And Julie Murphy made a motion that we have Wilmot's haul the gravel over top. And I said no, because when you got a project like this, you want one person to get it all done so you're not waiting on the other one. We got that all settled. I've been blamed for waiting too long because the waters was high, so Stursinger's didn't get it fixed right away. We have went to Blum Township trying to get some help because it's on a border road between Oak Lake and Blum Township. Blum Township will not help us. The installation, excuse me, did you all get notice of what these bills are?
Yes.
Okay. Otherwise, there's copies here. I could not get the copies from the clerk of the township, so I went to True North and I went to two Stursinger's, and here are the copies of the total bill. The total bill costs $13,000 and some dollars. Why should Oak Lake Township be responsible for the $13,000 of putting in these culverts when it is on a boundary line? Blum Township will not help. I've asked Dual County, they will not help. Brookings County said they would pay for the tubes. And in this here, I don't know if you have a copy of this also. It came from your office. And Brookings County, in their minutes, said they will go as high as $10,000. And the township would pay $1,000. Well, those numbers were not, they were just estimates. The numbers came out $6,400 for the county and $7,300 for the township. Those are not real, they're close, okay? So the county was billed, the culverts were delivered and was billed to Oak Lake Township because they had to have a billing in order to deliver. That was my mistake. we should have had the county deliver them out there and he'll pay for them. So the old name is on the top of the invoice rather than Oak Lake. So they delivered them out in about 3 weeks or a month or so. The water went down enough we could get them installed. I came into town and asked why these were not paid for, and I was told you never received an invoice. And so at the next meeting, I made a motion that we rebill the county to pay the agreed upon amount. Come back into Brookings, never received an invoice. You guys were never notified. Why not? I do not know. There was a breakdown somewhere, and it was costly. So I was in town just not too long ago because I was told we was going to meet with the county. I had this all set up before. I had it set up last spring. But due to some others on the board came in and disrupted the whole procedure. And so you guys was out of it. You didn't know you was out of it. So I came in and I got these copies because I can't get a copy in the township. I got the copies from the people that did the work and supplied the culverts. And here they are. And hoping that you guys will still pay for the tubes. The township, what can one township do to make the other township pay their fair share? In state law, it says, graveling and maintaining of the roads is a gentleman's agreement as to who takes what on the boundary line. But all major procedures, all major investments are shared 50-50. We cannot get Blum Township to do their share. What should we do? There's no way that Oak Lake Township should have to be stuck with these bills when this is one of the main roads for the wind towers. It's one of the main roads that the wind towers use for maintenance. And I just heard you say that you got $901,000 from the wind towers. I think they deserve these roads. And Oak Lake did a good job and a good service by doing it. But why does Oak Lake have to pay the bill? So we're asking you to go ahead and pay the amount, not the amount, but either the tubes or $10,000, I don't care which, as long as it's one or the other. And I would entertain any questions, and I'd appreciate any questions.
Do we have any questions? Generally, we have to have a motion on the floor to approve, but if there are questions, I'll allow them. We did receive your materials. We received your correspondence. So I would ask, is there a motion to approve his request? Any other amount? Is there a motion to approve his request?
Motion approved for discussion purpose.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, this motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? Any questions?
It's my understanding that it's our policy, if we are going to pay for culverts, that there has to be a request approved prior to the installation and not after the project. Am I correct on that? We don't do it in the opposite.
That's correct. In our new one, Brian has to go out and survey the project also.
So there's maybe some miscommunication from our previous highway superintendent that was misunderstood somehow or another, that, yeah, we can approve to pay for the culverts, but you have to go through the process, and the process wasn't followed. Is that a correct statement? Assumption? Brian? You don't have any paperwork that it was approved?
I do not.
Okay. The purpose of the program initially was to assist townships when there was financial burden to put in some of these things in the county. We had, was it $100,000 that we put a limit on that? There was a limit on what we would pay for, if I recall.
This year's budget, the 2019 budget, has $100,000, and there's that application process. This project took place last year. It took place in 2018. The commission did approve some funding for 2 other townships, Windsor Township and Oslo Township. Both of them came with contractor estimates prior to the work being done. And there was discussion at that time with the board, and a dollar amount was kind of set and approved. There was some discussion at that time about the Oak Lake project, but, and this may be where there was some miscommunication or a misunderstanding, but there was never an official contractor's estimate provided to the board.
May I speak to that? The contractor said he could not come up with a figure because he did not know how much water would be affected, how much water he had to devote to get at the culvert, because there was 2 culverts laying side by side. He could divert the water to go through one culvert while he fixed the other, and then vice versa as he fixed the other one. And you really have a hard time coming up with how much time it's going to take to divert the water from one to the other. And it had to be fixed. It had to be fixed. So what difference does it make how much it's going to cost? The people up there have already complained that the road's not open. And these people that are giving us this big money, the wind towers, they was going out of their way because they couldn't use this road. They wanted it fixed, and they had a right to have it fixed because of what they have contributed to your government and our government. They had a right for that road, so it had to be fixed. And I thought of something else in between, and now I have dropped it. But I'll think of it again. That's something that we're missing here.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Pierce.
the reason for the requirement that you come in advance, if you want us to participate and that you get approval, is so that we can have some assurance that the work that was done is the work that needs to be done. And in this particular case, there have been documents that were submitted along with your stuff that say to me anyway, my reading is that there were expenditures on this project that did not need to be done, that those culverts needed a band as opposed to being replaced. I'm unwilling, after the project has been done, to spend money on something from the county's funds that maybe could have been handled in a less expensive way. And I'll be voting against this motion because of that. And I just want to be clear, I don't think those culverts needed to be replaced. There's nothing that shows me that that was what was needed.
That's kind of the purpose of having the highway superintendent look at those bids and do a site visit to assure that the bids are proper.
Mr. Chairman, there was 2 county workers out there and took pictures while this construction was being done.
This would be prior to construction.
What's that?
Prior to,
While the
our process would be, those things will be done prior to construction.
Yep. Well, these pictures were taken while they was taking the old culverts out. And if you want to look at the old culverts, they are still out there. And if you will look at them and decide whether you think you should put those back in or not, I would appreciate if you drive out and look at them. They are out there. When they took the second one out, there was no need of putting it back in because of the cost of putting it back in. Why would you put something in that had 2 years left in it? And then go through the same procedure of the most expensive thing here is the installation. So why put in one that's got 2 years left in it? Why wouldn't you put the new one back in at the cost of installation?
Well, again, that can be a township decision. The basic decision of the county commission is whether we participate or not. That's why we have a process. Otherwise, we'd have everybody come in after the fact and saying, oh, you need to pay for this. And we didn't have a step in the process that would guarantee that our funds were being expended appropriately.
I was dealing with Dick, and this is what Dick said we had to do. And so that's what we did.
Well, Dick's not here to discuss that. So
but that's not our fault, and that's something we couldn't foresee.
there any other comments from the commissioners?
Just, I want to say one more thing. Sorry to take up some additional time. But, Mr. Patrick, it's my understanding that you're here today without an official vote from your township board authorizing you to make this presentation. And that's the other reason that I will not be voting in favor of this motion, because you need to have your township support what it is when you come in front of the county to make a request for funding. That has to be something that's been approved by your township board. Okay.
May I speak to that?
Yes.
When we set the graveling last fall, or last summer, I am one of the supervisors. I was removed from directing any gravel to anywhere in the county, in the township, because this was my project. I got my project. Sturzinger's got their share. The other two contractors with the other two supervisors was going to gravel the township. They gravelled the township with $81,000 to one township. We threw a lot of money away on gravel on top of gravel for 3 years straight, just to get more gravel on the road. This was my project, so I never participated in the graveling of the township. So if this was supposed to be done, Robert, what you're referring to, they had all last summer. I did this on my own because it was not getting done. This was money that was out of the township, out of my taxes. They don't care about their taxes because they're not paid.
And that, I'm going to make one more response, and I won't say any more.
You may.
You don't have authority to do things on your own without the township approval. And where I myself personally will not support that type of activity.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Your last comment?
Why do we have 3 supervisors if one don't have nothing to say?
You're going to have to take that up as a township board. We don't run the township board's affairs or their meetings. So with that, is there any other comments? All those in favor, should this be a roll call? This is a roll call vote.
Jensen,
No.
Pierce,
No.
Boersma,
No.
Bartley.
No.
Motion fails.
Your request is denied. All right, we're going to move into, we did everything except executive session, I believe. Going to move into executive session. We'll need a motion to do that in accordance with South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2, parentheses 4 for contract negotiations, also codified law 1-25-2, parentheses 1 for personnel discussions. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. We're in executive session. Does anybody need a break before that? Let's just go straight to it.